Yeah, Basson got invited in for a shot. So him and Craig Ludwig go at it. Now, Craig Ludwig is a monster. I don't know if you remember him. He's just a monster of a defenseman back then.
Yes.
So they get into it, man, and they're just burying into it. And I give Basson a lot of credit. He was kind of standing up for himself, trying to make a show here and stuff. And so they were going at it. And then, like I said, after that, I helped Basson pick up his gloves. And it was all the thing that stands out for me more than anything, KD, is like, number one, the speed of these guys, being on the ice with these guys as they're, and it's a smaller rink, obviously, but they're training, they're practicing. Like you can go to a Rangers practice, right? And you can watch it, and you can kind of be you can get up to the glass and you can watch and everything. But I was on the ice as a mock referee for that whole thing, and I'll never forget how fast. And these guys are going for jobs, and they were checking the crap out of each other. And seeing Andy Moog and Arthurs Urbe and all these guys, and it was just an absolutely incredible experience. And then, guys would come on for the quick runs and all that stuff, and then they'd get off, and then, God, I'll never forget. I have this image of just Joe Nieuwendyk on the bike, in between, seeing all the sticks. I don't have it in front of me, man, but if I pulled up the roster for that training camp and that team, they were all there. And it was just absolutely incredible. And then, like I said, a couple of years, guys like, Madonna wasn't there. He wasn't at that particular practice. There was a couple of big stars on the team, obviously, that weren't there for that. So, but as an ice, I played ice hockey, obviously, a little bit and stuff like that. And then here I was just skating around, being a ref. And the reason I'm bringing this up is that no matter how much ice hockey, no matter how fast I was in line, 25, the speed of watching these guys and being on the ice with them was just, I'll never forget that. So my buddy was awesome, Dave. It was just like an incredible thing. So it was just a whole awesome thing, and just being around these guys, watching a training camp live, being a part of it, picking up the pucks, looking down at the ice, and Benoit Hogue looking up at me, waiting for me to drop the puck. Like, there's just certain images that stand out. And it was great. And then, boom, we hopped in the car, we went back home, and I took Dave out to the bar, and I bought him like thousands of dollars of drinks because it was just an absolute incredible experience. So the rest of that, we played a ton of online hockey, a lot of leagues out there, which was great. Hockey was exploding. It was we actually tried out for the Denver roller hockey team that was playing in there. We didn't make it because at the time it was actually a lot of Russians were in that league, and if you had a Russian connection, that was the only way you were really getting on those teams. Crazy enough. I had a buddy of mine, Pete, who was on my officiating squad. He actually got hired by the league. He became an official. We went to games to watch him. It was pretty awesome. The year before that, actually, I went up to the visit. That's when Butchie Gorin was coaching the Grizzlies. The Denver Grizzlies were in there right before the Avalanche came in, the Northeast came in. That's a great story, too. I went to their game, saw Butchie and that squad. I had a Grizzlies jersey. And then after that, man, I came back, and then I played a lot of inline league. But at that time when I came back, I was, I got back into my music career and everything, and I got the band back together, and I was chasing a lot of chicks, you might say. And I just basically played a lot of I played a lot of inline hockey from then on, and some more deck hockey, but that was pretty much it. I've got some great memories early. I'm looking at a picture right now of a picture that I have from 1990-91. Me and my buddies, we won this championship in Barrett Park in Valley Stream, and they did everything they possibly could because it was all Valley Stream guys, and we ended up winning the thing. And they didn't even have a trophy for us or a cup or anything afterwards. And I'll never forget, I went to a trophy store in Oceanside, and I bought all my guys trophies. And my father has it's right here. It's this videotape. It's a VHS thing. We did a trophy ceremony. But what I'm getting at is I'm sure you've got these stories too, and I can't wait to hear them too. But we just love the game so much. We love playing, and even on a roller hockey level too. Guys, and I've got friends and cousins and buddies of mine, still close guys that we were on these roller hockey teams that have gone on and almost gotten semi-pro. I mean, the thing back then, being from Long Island, it was very hard to actually get off the island and then go play. You had to make this huge commitment to go and play in college and the traveling and all that other stuff. And it's tough. My brother went through it too. He was a top player. He still plays ice today. He's an excellent player. It's all, adult and beer leagues right now. But my brother Shawnee, too, it was tough. He played for Chaminade, and all his guys stuck together. But making a career choice out of, trying to get out of Long Island and trying to become, an NHL star is so tough. I mean, guys like McAvoy out here from Long Beach now, it's different. It's definitely different now. In fact, my buddy now, his kid's playing. I asked him today, I said, has he got any thoughts of playing, pro? And he's just like, one day at a time. I said he would definitely love to do it. But a lot of kids will play. I have my other cousin, Martin, his son, phenomenal high school player, but he's not making the choice, financially to kind of make that kind of commitment to go into doing it. So, but that's it. I mean, I could go on and on more and more about it. But for me as a personal player, it was basically local grassroots stuff. When I went out to Colorado, that was the best shape of my life. There were some opportunities out there, but it never really kind of took off. And I was on my own out there, and I had other things more important that I could do than to try and at 25 there was no kind of career at it. But I love the game. I still love it. It's a huge part of my life, especially just in terms of playing recreationally to just so blessed and so lucky to be a kid from Long Island and, to love the Rangers through a father who came over from Ireland, worked in the city in the 60s and went in to see a Bobby Hull Chicago Blackhawk game, and that's how I became a Ranger fan, and that's how I did. And then my brother grew up, on Long Island during those, post-LaFontaine days and whatever, and he became an Islander fan because all his cousins and his buddies were all Islander fans, so it's who they grow up with. But I love it. This is great to talk about it because I have so many great memories. There's a lot of them that I'm leaving out, but I will say this in terms of deck hockey, my roller hockey buddies, my time in Colorado, my hockey memories are phenomenal. I never played it on a professional level. I love it as a fan, but myself as just a kid who used to play, I still got my sticks in the garage, KD, man. So. But that's it. I got so much more to say, but those are great memories, and it's awesome. But that's pretty much a general basis of my thing of playing. I'll say this much as a player. I mostly played defense, and I would be the guy that would get a lot of penalties because in no checking leagues, my buddies would get checked, and you know this very well with the Deck Hockey League in Farmingdale. I used to get tossed out of lots of games. Because there were guys that I just wanted to kill. Because guys, they would run each other, and that's always the dangerous thing in beer leagues is that you got, guys that have nothing outside of this thing, and they'll take you out, and then, but that's it. So, but good stuff. What about yourself, bro?
Yeah, I mean, I started playing ice hockey when I was 7. Actually, the first time I played hockey was only the second time I'd actually stepped on ice with skates in my life. So I could barely even skate, but I wanted to play, same thing. I was 7, so that was like in 83, the heyday of the Islanders. Long Island is, hockey crazy. So, I got caught up in it, and I wanted to play. So, my parents, I guess I was lucky enough to have parents who were able to get me hockey equipment, and they put me in the Town of Oyster Bay Rec League. I think it was probably like the youngest age group there. I barely even knew how to skate. I could skate forward. But I remember, I'll never forget this first clinic, that it was just like a clinic. And then they played a couple of games at the end, in like this sort of like house rec league with the Town of Oyster Bay. And, I never forget it. My parents videoed it. So, they had you doing like line drills. So you did forward. I was like, oh, this is great. I could do forward. And then like, all right, everyone's got to skate backwards. And it's just like a video. The video is just me just like basically walking backwards on my skates, like as, and I think the age group probably was like 7 to 10 years old. So there were some kids who knew what they were doing. They were skating, and I'm just walking. And you just hear in the background, like my parents dying laughing, just dying laughing. Because I'm like walking on my skates and kids are like, like skating circles around me, like on these like line drills and stuff. So that was like my introduction into ice hockey. And like I've mentioned on the show, I was really into goaltending. So that was my thing. And I ultimately wanted to get into that. So when the games came around for these things, and they were asking, well, who wants to play goalie? Because nobody in these clinics is really there with full goalie equipment on, and one game, the one guy who had been playing for our team didn't show up. So I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to do it. And I got in there and I just loved it. And from that point on, I was playing goal in these, rec in the town of Oyster Bay sort of clinics and rec leagues. And from there, I started playing in the Caniac leagues, in-house leagues. Caniac, I played at Newbridge League. My first year actually playing in the Caniac in-house, we won the championship, which like you said, just amazing memories. We knocked off the undefeated team, and one of my best friends was on the team, so it made it that much sweeter. That was always fun. I tried out a couple of times for the Nassau County travel team, the Lions. I don't know if you remember that, with Nassau County Lions. The first year I tried out, I'm trying to remember how old I was. I was probably 10, 11, something like that. I remember trying out. I didn't make it. Then the second year I tried out, I actually made the team. I made the travel team, but as the alternate goalie. And I basically told them to go screw themselves. I was either going to be on the team or I don't even want to be a part of it. which was probably a stupid mistake, because I basically just screwed myself for, later on, because I wasn't that old. Young, dumb kid. I mean, look, I wasn't going to the NHL, but whatever. So I continued to play in the rec leagues. And then actually, when I got into junior high school, I grew up in Massapequa, still living in Massapequa. There was only 3 high school teams that had JV teams at the time. It was Roslyn, Valley Stream, and Oceanside. But the Oceanside team was an independent team, and they were taking kids from anywhere. So I played on this Oceanside team, and we actually won the JV championship that year, which was, again, awesome. Good times. And then, once I got into high school, I played for Massapequa High School. Again, goalie the whole time. I was goalie. Which I, again, just love the position. In high school, we won the Town of Oyster Bay Championship my junior year. Again, all my buddies, and just an amazing, amazing time. Massapequa pretty much won that championship every year, so it was a little bit of pressure to have to win it every year. So that was definitely fun times. And that was, my senior year, I ended up getting hurt. So early on, so I didn't get to finish out the year because I had lacrosse, which was more important to me at the time. So I didn't want to push the injury. So I haven't played ice hockey since my senior year of high school. I literally haven't put on goalie equipment since then. Wow. The last time I've seen my goalie equipment, my ice hockey goalie equipment, was when I tried to sell them to Play It Again Sports before going to a trip to Atlantic City. And the guy, I must have been in my late 20s. So think about the advances in goalie equipment from the age of 18 to the age of 28 or however old I was. I walked into Play It Again Sports and the guy laughed at me. He's like, "Are you joking?" He goes, the guy said, "The only thing I could do for you is help you throw these out by throwing them in the dumpster in the back of the store." So that I actually, so I said no, and I brought it back. I actually still have all the equipment at my dad's house. So I still actually have all the stuff. But yeah, that was actually the last time I played. And obviously I played, when I was a kid, you played deck hockey with the kids in the neighborhood. And where I lived, it was funny. There was groups of us, you sort of had your crew. I mean, I'm sure everybody did, and what we would do is we had these tournaments with the different crews in the neighborhood. It was so much fun. I mean, I think that was some of the most fun I ever had playing hockey was when I was 8 and 9 years old. And we had other kids who were our age that we would play against. We played in this bank parking lot. And we would, meet up and we would say, okay, well, the game will be this Saturday. We see each other in school. I'd be like, all right, the game's on Saturday. And then the other group of guys was one of the guys on our team's older brother and his friends. So, they were 3 or 4 years older than us, and they'd come over, big, and they would beat the shit out of us, physically, we'd be playing and they're they're like, you score again, we're going to beat the shit out of you. And you're like, oh my God, it's like one of those things. So that was a lot of fun. And then, like you mentioned, I played in the Farmingdale Deck Hockey League with my buddies when I was in college. My